So hello everybody. This is recorded in English. Later on it will have Russian subs or even Russian dubs. We will see depending on the capabilities of the YouTube. And today we're continuing the so-called interview series. And today I'm delighted to have an interview with my teacher and I guess also my friend, the Tibetan monk, and today we will be discussing some issues pertaining to the monk's life. I suggest that there are many misunderstandings about the what is to be a monk, what is the monkhood, what is the monk lives, what is the motivation, what is the daily schedule of the monastery, like everything that is hidden inside. Of course, I have some knowledge due to my poor experience of the practice, but at the same time, for the people who are interested but outside and not visiting places like this, not visiting the monasteries, not visiting the gompas, I think that the question of what is monastery, what is to be a monk, is like a complete mystery, complete darkness. So today we're not just to reveal, but to make some glimpses of what is monastery. And so, first of all, thank you that you have agreed to devote some of your time.
It's my
And
pleasure.
I think that we will start maybe with stupid questions, but maybe from stupid questions we will go with more complex. So first of all, how old are you?
I am. That is actually my secret, but you are going to reveal it today. I'm 38.
Yeah. So we are of the same age. Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe the question is stupid but at the same time complex. How you became a monk? You can reply as you wish, but I know how you became a monk.
Mm, it was kind of my parents' choice, and of course, in my hometown in Tibet, every family wish to have a monk in their family because that is a family's dignity, and of course, that is a very good path. Everybody believe that to follow the path and to be a monk from, of course, from the is kind of leave behind the samsaric world and then can practice more and study dharma more and also kind of becoming the a person who can take refuges from. Yeah, so that's why everybody wish to have a monk in their family members. So, and in my mother's generation, my mother's uncle,
Yeah.
actually it's my mother's uncle, yes, not the mother's, my mother's previous generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a monk in my family member, and he was disrupted during the Cultural Revolution, and then afterwards he was died. Then, since then, there was no monk in my family. Then, my mother and the father, my parents, wants to have a monk in our family, and then I have two older brothers and one younger brother and one younger sister. I'm the middle one. We are five siblings.
Wow.
So they will choose one among these five children, right? So in Tibet, it's like this. They will choose the one who is the looks most intelligent one, who can study the Buddhism. It's a deep study, right? So they will choose one who looks very smart, very intelligent, and seems like can do study a lot. Yeah. So after I just graduated from my,
And this what age?
at that time I was 13.
13.
Yeah. So after just I finished my study at primary school, then that time actually it was a different education policy in Tibet by the Chinese government, and then after sixth grade, you're in
Time
the
is over.
yeah education journey is over in the village, the countryside. Of course, in the city they will go higher schools and then of course the universities. But in the countryside, sixth grade,
Yeah.
that's the highest
And this is
education
for free.
level.
And this for free.
Yeah. And then after that, most of people would just then live life, right? So then my parents brought me to the monastery, and actually I have my father's side uncle in the monastery. He's a monk. And then my father brought me to him, and then since then I become a monk.
And when they told you that, Dargyal, you will be monk, what did you feel like? Like good, or like, oh no, I will be separated from my family?
It was two kind of feelings. Yes, to go to monastery, because even though after I went to monastery, some of my village fellows told me that, how lucky you are, you can meet the rinpoches, you can see get the blessings from rinpoches so many times over time. But we don't have this opportunity. We have to live, because we are nomads, have to live in the mountains most of the time.
So they invite you.
Yeah, so then they will say this kind of things, and also that is a kind of people's aspiration to go to monastery, to see to receive the blessings, and to meet the rinpoches. So because of that kind of mindset, I also kind of excited to go to monastery. Same time, I also that time really, at the beginning I didn't feel that. I was excited to go to monastery, but after I left in the monastery and my father went back to home, right? I miss my family a lot. And sometimes even I cried. And sometimes I go to the roof of the monastery, the monks' room, and because from that roof I can look, far the road, waiting for my father to visit me. Sometimes I can see somebody riding a horse in the distance. I was thinking maybe that is my father, but it coming closer and closer. No, it was not my father. Like this. Even though I was living with my uncle, so of course miss my family a lot.
And the monastery was something new. I mean, like in the village, when you was like less than 13 years old, you was visiting some kind of local monasteries or local gompas or local some sanctuaries, like big monastery with these teachings, etc., etc. Was something like it was new for you, or before becoming a monk, like being in the monastery was something like what is this, what I need to do, like you knew what monastery is, or like coming to the monastery was like a discovery?
Not totally a shock, not totally a new discovery, because since we were very little, parents will bring to the monasteries to receive the teachings or receive the empowerment, because of course the Tibetan Buddhism empowerment is everybody wants to receive. So parents will bring to there, and also sometimes before I came to this monastery is actually big, because this monastery is Talung Kagyu is the main set monastery, because the Talung Kagyu is one of the 8 sub schools of Kagyu lineage. So Talung Kagyu's main seat is the Talung Kumba, Talung Monastery. So that was also not so far from my hometown, my village. So time to time, parents bring me and other siblings to go to there. So I kind of have experience also, because I have an uncle there. I a little bit know that how the monk's life is, and also monks are very respected. Everybody will respect, right? So I like it, but of course then the practices, what kind of vows we have to take and we have to follow, and what kind of studies we have to do, many things are new. And also in the monastery, how strict the rules are. Not relax, wish you can do whatever you want to do. No, because in the monastery you have to follow the very strict rules.
And what what I have heard is that there is a tradition, like in Tibet, Nepal, that the youngest son should become a monk. And I heard it's like purely for materialistic purposes, that the heritage, like the fields, the household, should be inherited by the oldest son. And in order not to split the heritage between many siblings, the younger one should go to the monastery. So for this, the second reason is that for the like poor families, they
Yes,
don't
yes,
have
yeah.
enough money. It's better to send the younger son to the monastery, because monastery provides you with food, with clothes. And another thing is that once the younger son becomes a monk, he might become a lama, and by doing pujas, receiving donations, he can even help the family to have material wealth. So is it still true?
It not much true now. I think it kind of. Oh, there's a visitor. Maybe before 1950s. I think there's the situation, and also that time, yes, because to become a monk, to go to monastery,
Yeah.
there could have different reasons. Some, even though in the Buddha itself, in the sutras, also already mentioned that to the motivations why you go to the monastery, you know, they could have different reasons, different motivations. So of course, same in Tibet also, they could have many monks, but each of them, they could have different reasons. Maybe some of them, they really want to be a monk by themselves, even though they are young, so they came to the monastery. Even though sometimes the in the stories, histories of the lamas we can read, they wants to be a monk, but parents not allowed them because they need the son to take care of the family and you know, look after the heritage. But he really wants to become a monk. Then sometimes they will escape from the family and go to the monastery in the far away, and then become a monk. This kind of stories we can find. But some people, maybe he doesn't really want to be a monk, but family really wish to have a monk in the family member. So they will bring him and put in the monastery and stay. You have to stay here. If you come back to, you know, if you left from the monastery and come back to the village, you will put on shame on our face. We cannot, you know, we cannot show our face in the village. You will lose our face. You have to stay. This kind of also could have. And some could have, yes, the reason like if the family is poor, financial have a problem, then, and especially in the ancient time, they have a lot of children, like 10, 15, right? So 5, 6, 7 is very common. So if you have a lot of children and you don't have enough, you know, the wealth to support the family, then of course, if you send 1 or 2 children to the monastery, then the monastery kind of take care of them, and then he could have education and then have a good life. So also could have this kind of motivation and background. Yeah.
But nowadays, like
But now, not
maybe
really.
I'm not Tibet, here in refugee settlements or in Nepal, what is the main motivation of people becoming monks?
In Nepal, I really don't really know exactly because I don't have much experience in Nepal. But here in Tibetan society, outside of Tibet, like in Nepal, India, Bhutan, this kind of, especially in India, I don't see many monks from the settlements. I think one reason could be the life become better, life become easier, and the opportunities are more, and so the family, they were sent to the kids in the schools
To the
rather than the
university,
monasteries.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, they could have chances to go to universities, and they could become you know, doctors or whatever, and they could have a very good life,
Big people, yeah.
right? Yeah, but still there are some. So those also, it is kind of a family, the parents really wish their son or daughter can go to a monastery and become a monk or nun and study the Buddhism and become a great practitioner or great teacher or scholars in Buddhism. Yeah, so they send their kids well, they are very little in the monastery also.
And usually at what age they send the people? Like 13, I think it was quite old enough.
Of course,
From
of
what
course.
I've heard, it's like through 3, 4, 5. Well, like you can walk, you can eat, you're like conscious, and that's it.
Yeah. Yes, because if we really follow the Vinaya code, Vinaya code say that if you are able to kind of disturb a bird to fly away,
Yeah.
then it's
You're
okay to
conscious,
go
yeah.
to monastery because you have your consciousness, right? And but because that time we will take only the not the fully ordained monk. You are monk but not fully ordained. So we call this Gyetzul, right? Novice monk. And then after that you have to stay in monastery and you have to be adults, and then you have to study, and then you will become a fully ordained monk. Yeah. So there is a kind of preparation gap. Yeah.
Okay. So one side, the family, the child wants to be a monk, but no monastery. Let's say you are coming to the monastery and saying, I want to be a monk. Let's say, not taking in consideration, let's say, the political situation now, but generally monastery, Tibetan monastery. I don't know when, Nepal, Bhutan, India, Tibet. A family comes to the monastery and says, here is our son, we want him to be a monk. So what is the procedure? So they are saying like, come numerous, we will accept you, or there is kind of selection procedure. So what is the procedure? How monastery accepts a person to be a monk?
They could have different procedures. I think most of monasteries except Shedas, because Shedas is different. And most of monastery, like my monastery in Tibet also, you have to have somebody to be your son's teacher. You have to find either like in my case, I have an uncle, right? And if you don't have any uncles or sort of like this, maybe I have a friend, you are my friend, your brother or your friend, there's a monk, you know very well, and then I can ask you, can you ask your friend
So you need to have an acquaintance.
Yes. And can you ask it to him to, to be my son's teacher? And then if he accept, then you can bring your son to the monastery, and then he will look after. Yeah, and but here in India, some monasteries, yes, then you don't have to find this kind of person, a monk. You just can bring your son and go to the monastery office and then ask, and then they will accept, and then they will find a teacher for your son, and then you will stay with that teacher, and then the teacher will teach that, of course, little kids, right? Little monk. He will become a little monk. Yeah.
Like in business, it's called buddy.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, in case the number of imagine persons who want to be monks, let's say this year, exceeds like the physical capacities of guest house, the physical capacities of the kitchen, etc., etc. Will they say like, no, come next year? This year we cannot accept.
It depends. Sometimes it could happen. Like here, for example, the nunnery, Dromaling, and some nunneries here. Before 2008, before that, there were so many monks and nuns coming from Tibet. And then the monasteries and the nunneries, they don't have accommodations enough for everybody. So it's not easy to get admission to a monastery or the nunneries. Yeah, that time sometimes it happened. Yes, this time we don't have recommendations. We cannot accept you now. So come next year. We will see. Yeah, but if there's no many monks or nuns, then of course easy.
Okay. And you've said except Shedras. So what are the different like styles or types of monasteries, and what are the different like paths for a monk inside the monastery?
Yeah, the Sheddas, they are kind of different monasteries. Some are purely Shedda, some are combined with the monastery and the Shedda. We call this Tatsang. Tatsang and the Shedda together. And some are purely Tatsang, no more Shedda. So if that is purely Shedda, it's really like a universities. So the little monks cannot admit there. So of course have to, by the age, have to be adult, and then after you come to the Shedda, you have to study certain years, and then after you finish your study, then probably you will go back to Tatsang or the other monastery to teach, or sort of like this. So this case, you cannot bring a little boy to this Shedda and ask, I want to, make this my son a monk here in this Shedda.
Yeah.
Then the Shedda will say, sorry, we don't accept the little monks here.
And they accept from what age?
Age like 13, 14. Yeah.
So like from this something like 6th, 7th grade of school.
Yeah.
So that means to enter the Shedra, you need to have the basic knowledge of scripture,
Yes,
writing,
yes,
maybe
yes.
math, like basic education.
Yeah. Basically, the lowest requirements should be the reading, writing, no problem in Tibetan. Yeah.
And the Shedra will be dedicated also to the general education, or to the Buddhist philosophy, or to the rituals. Like what is the contents of the curriculum of the Shedra?
Different Sheddas could have, because the Sheddas also could have Ngak Shedda, Do Shedda, Tantric Shedda, and kind of Sudra Sheddas. So we call this Tsenyi Shedda. Tsenyi Shedda and the Tantric Sheddas also. So if there is a Tantric Sheddas, of course there is a lot of Tantric teachings and a lot of rituals, a lot of pujas, teachings also. But if that is a Tsenyi Shedda, then the curriculums will focus on the philosophies. Yeah. So they could have, some Sheddas could have both curriculums, but first you have to study the philosophies. Yeah. The philosophy, after you study the philosophy, then if your grade is higher enough and your knowledge about the philosophy good enough, then we'll start to study the tantric teachings as well. But because to study tantric teachings, actually many of them have to receive the initiations as well before you study this text.
And Shedra is how many years?
Depends. For example, like Giluk tradition, Giluk school,
Yeah.
like 20 years, 22 years, more than some of them. If you want to study until the Geshe Harambas, maybe 30 years. But other three schools, Nyingma, Kaju, and Saja, generally 10 years.
10 years. So it's like a school plus university.
Yeah.
And after the Shedra, you can also try to proceed with Geshe.
Geshe is actually Geshe. This term and this position, this title, used only in Giluk school and Pombo school, right? In Kaju, there's no Geshe. In as a education title, in Kaju we don't use, and also in
Sakya
Nyingma and
Nyingma.
Saja, no. There's no Geshe. This is a misunderstanding. Everybody say, oh, in Tibetan Buddhism, the highest education title or rank is Geshe.
Yeah.
That is in Giluk school and the Pombo also. Yeah. Then others, no, different titles.
But I mean, like for the after, let's say after approximately 10 years in Shedra, you can continue with high studies of philosophies. Yeah.
Yeah. After 10 years, like for example, after 10, because 10 years there's a curriculum set up, right?
Yeah.
After you finish this study, then you can, for example, like I studied in Zongsa. It's a Remi school actually, a non-sectarian Shedda. Then after we finish our study in the СЮДА, then many of the students who finish this, and then they will go to Dehradun to the Tantric СЮДА to study Tantric teachings as well. Yeah. And then of course in like Gaju Nyingma Saja schools, after you finish your study, then there are some higher titles, like for example Kembo is a well-known one. So Kembo, to be a Kembo also, there are some different, because even though you have a Kembo title, you will get this from different ways. Some of them really from the education level. You'll be you are, maybe you already taught in the СЮДА for 5-10 years, then you will receive the Kembo title. But some of them, Kembo means really just head of a monastery.
Like
Yeah.
Abbot.
Yeah, Abbot here. Actually, Abbot is a Kembo,
Yeah.
the translation. Yeah, but sometimes it used as a education title. Sometimes it used as like a role position. Yeah, so different.
And let's say in terms of like personal growth, it is called in the West. What usually people, I mean monks, prefer, like to proceed with high philosophies or proceed with sutra or proceed with tantra, usually depending on what personal capabilities people choose.
It really depends on your motivation, because some, even though you become a monk, maybe you want to be a scholar, you want to teach, and some maybe you want to practice, you want to go to the cave, and some maybe you really want to really renounce the everything and practice seriously. So it depends on your motivation. So especially nowadays, many monks wants to be scholars. Yeah. So once you study the Buddhist philosophy, and so that's why even some monks really wants to have the recognition from universities. If you have a recognition from universities, then you can kind of get different international level or national level stages to teach.
So you can travel, you
Yes,
have your
yes, yes.
sanka, you become Rinpoche.
Yeah.
And how to say, okay, the person entered the monastery. Let's say it's not Chedra. If it's not Chedra, what is going on in the monastery?
Then
like
in the
this,
monastery,
like 13 years.
Yes.
As well. What's going on inside?
how many years?
Like your case.
Yes,
13
yes.
age, 13
Oh,
years
yeah.
old. You enter the monastery. So what's going on inside? What's if it's not Chedra? What is your activities inside the monastery?
If you are like 13 years old, a little monk,
Yeah.
then you will be the first, your responsibility is to memorize many chantings, prayers, and actually initiations. You have to memorize, because here actually many monasteries they use text, but in my monastery in back to Tibet, we are not allowed to use the text in the pujas. Everything you have to memorize. So we have, like myself, I spent some years to memorize the prayers and the pujas.
And melodies.
Yeah. And then initially you have to learn how to make the sand mandalas. And for example, in a monastery, there are different. Then after you become a monk, there are, we call this lineage. Lineage means roles. So you have to start from lowest role, and year by year you will be upgraded. So like for example, the first year, maybe your role is to take care of the you have to help in the kitchen, and you have to maybe serve tea to the monks while in the puja, and your role is to meanwhile, like me, that time I look after the dogs of the monastery. Yes, of course have to give food to feed the dogs, right? we have the Tibetan
Mastiff.
dog,
Yeah.
very huge one in my monastery. Yeah,
But not aggressive.
Little bit, but not to the monks. Of course, he kind of
He
familiar. He knows the monks, and he always lives on the roof of the monastery. And then there's no tie. Just he running on the roof here and there, and then when he bark, wow, it's just a very big one.
I saw one close to Kailash, very big dog. It was outside. It was on the chain.
Yeah. But the dog, I looked after in Tibet. That he was free. He wasn't chained.
But on the roof.
Yes, on the roof. So that's why he cannot jump. It's so high. Yeah.
So, so the first responsibility is to know the text, to know the rituals, to know the melodies, to know how they use maybe different instruments.
Yes.
So like, how to say, we can call it like a formal, like external side. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and this takes how many years?
It also depends how many monks are in the monastery. So these roles in the monastery you have to do. It's a kind of service to the monastery, right? Because you become kind of the member of this community.
Yeah.
So this community, of course, there's no hired people to do the things in the monastery. Of course, monks have to take care of the monastery and take care, everything, the responsibilities. And so that's why their roles. These are the for the monastery. But for the personal, of course, you have to then study and then receive the teachings and then start to practice and then have to perform the pujas and then, of course, have to go to in the villages, on the request of the households to go to there to perform the pujas. Yeah.
And so you have, like, the monk has the responsibilities to run the kitchen, to clean the premises, to take care of the shrine, etc., etc. And at the same time, there are teachings, like for the younger monks, and there is a curriculum. It's not just teachings, there is a kind of schedule to this.
Yes, there is, but not
So
exactly like it's
not
day to
Shedra,
day.
It's
not like Shedra day to day. There's not this kind of curriculum. Time to time, Rinpoches or High Lamas will give the teachings, empowerment, and instructions and transmissions. Then, of course, everybody will receive it, and then since you receive like one empowerment, then you will have a daily practice based on this teaching. Yes, so of course you have to do the practices as well since then.
And is there kind of structure of like, in quote, lamrim? So that means that the novice monk should start with this topic, then next initiation this topic, like you first start with the basics, then more complex, or it's just like this, like, is there kind of trajectory for this?
Yes, there is one that is, the common one is you will practice first Ngondo, preliminary practices. So that is in most of the traditions of Tibetan Buddhism.
So Ngondo is like by default for everybody.
Yes, but actually Ngondo is very deep, and then Ngondo, even though some Rinpoches or some Lamas or some practitioners will say, Ngondo is everything. If you can if you can scope the Ngondo well, your practice is already good. So don't think like a Ngondo is like a initiation, and after you Ngondo finish, you will practice the main practice. So, yeah.
Because nowadays people are saying, like in the West, that we need to like finish the Ngondo, and then the real Tantra begins.
Because this is the term.
Yeah.
Ngondo and the practices, right? Because Ngondo means the preliminary, right? So the kind of initiation.
Yeah. Here we need to say that Ngondo are the so-called preliminary practices that in fact, not from the beginning they were called nondros, because in the development of Tibetan Buddhism there were two different practices, and I don't know in what centuries some practitioners started to compiling them in a set of practices, and there were like basic set of practices. First, you need to do the prostrations and the refuge.
Yes, yes.
This practices the devotion and connects you to the lineage of this and this lineage of Buddhism. The second is bodhicitta, the altruistic motivation to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. Third will be purification of mind, so-called Vajrasattva or 100-syllable mantras. In Bonpo, it's 100-syllable mantra, but the not Vajrasattva, different yidam. Then comes the mandala offering, also altruistic motivation of pure giving. And then comes the Guru Yoga, considered one of the highest practices that can lead to enlightenment. And this is the basic set. And then in every tradition there will be some different additional preliminaries. Like in Bonpo tradition there will be 3 essence mantra, like Karmakaya, Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Bonku, Dzogku, Tulku. We need to practice them. As far as I know, is the Gelugpa tradition, there is a practice of tsatsa. And in other languages, there might be other things. So in Bonpo, there are 5, 6, 7, 8 preliminaries. In your tradition, how many preliminaries?
I think this is very similar. Very similar. Ngondo, as you mentioned, all of them, it's just same. Then the last one is Lamin Ninja, Guru Yoga. Yes, actually Guru Yoga is a men practice, right? So the previous, of course, the prostration, mandalas, and those are kind of part of purification. So after you purified your body, mind, and speech and mind, then you will kind of practice the Guru Yoga practice. And then Guru Yoga practice is actually as an already men practice. And also it's kind of the bridge from the purification and then go to the men practices. And then after you finish the Ngondo practice, then of course then you can practice any yidams, any yidams as you wish.
And here we need to say that one practice shall be done at least 100,000 times. So 8 practices, 800,000 times. So in a retreat, I think this at least like 3 years. 3 or 4 years, I think, I don't know.
Generally 3 years.
3 years.
But only for Ngondo, it won't take that much time. Only practice Ngondo.
I think in daily life, it's more than 7 years I'm doing Ngondo. I'm still in the middle of the way. And once you reached the top of this practice, it doesn't mean that this is all. As Lama said, that you need to do it all your life, all your life. And some high lamas, like for instance, like Mingyur Rinpoche, he has done the cycle of Nyondro 4 times.
Yes.
Already, and he continues. So that means that this is ongoing daily life practice until you die. But at the same time, to set one, you've done this preliminary amount, you can proceed with tantric initiation or like nature of mind. So like this is basis for like all Tibet monasteries. The Nyondro, that is why the monks have the same background.
Yes. Yes.
And okay, if the monk doesn't want, or just for some reason doesn't go to Shedra, the monk has fulfilled the preliminary practices. What comes next? Like you are like 15, 20 years old. What comes next?
Because there's not exactly the years set up. If you come to the monastery this year, next 3 years is this, the next 3 years is this. There's no this schedule at all. So that's why while you are studying, and then you are serving the monastery, and then it's kind of individual choice. If you want to start now, the Ngondo practice, yes, then you can. Then after the Ngondo finish, if you just live in a monastery, performing the pujas and learning some more rituals or the practices or how to perform or how to make the mandalas or something like that, and receiving some more teachings, not really staying in the retreats, that's also okay. Then if you want to stay in a retreat, yes, you can do that. But in my monastery, if you, that is your individual how you do. But there's kind of I told you that there's the monastery roles, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first 1 year or 2 years you have to be in the work in the kitchen.
Yeah.
After that, you have to be to play this instrument. After this, maybe your role is to make the tormas offering, torma offerings. Then after that, you are maybe playing another instrument, and then like this, and then end of these roles, there's 3 years to have to stay in the retreat, have to go to the retreat center in the mountain, and then that is a kind of mandatory. Everybody have to do.
This is mandatory.
Yes.
3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is mandatory for everybody.
Yes. If your turn comes, then you have to go. There's a turn, right? Because everybody have in the line.
Yeah.
One by one, right? And once your turn comes, then you have to
Let's
go
say
to
when your
the-
booking is ready.
Yes. Then you have to go to the retreat center. Of course, everybody willing to do that.
So in fact, like say every monk that we encounter, let's say here in Dharamshala, either has already passed the retreat or is preparing for the retreat. So let's say every monk, at least once in life, will pass this 3-year retreat.
In case, I don't know, because if it is in a monastery, I would say yes. Yeah.
And what is like being a monk within a monastery? This is kind of a lifetime subscription. I mean that you will always have the dormitory, the access to the kitchen, the basic needs, as long as you can serve the community, etc., etc. Or there are also kind of lines that after, I don't know, a certain age, you need to like start traveling, pilgrimage, or whatsoever. Or like once becoming a monk at the age of very young, you will have like a dormitory with the same monastery until you die.
Tibetan Buddhism. In Tibetan Buddhism, if you become a monk, kind of you are subscribed to be a monk a whole life. And then after you become a monk, what you will do is another question. But staying in a monkhood is different question. Because staying in the monkhood means you are staying in the vow.
Yeah.
You are following the vows and the rules. Vow, you take the vow, right? So you are following, staying in this vow. But then what you practice and what you will do is, then it depends on the individuals. But then, of course, if you wants to give up the monkhood, then anytime you can. But of course, in the society, it's not easy. And also like a family background and the society, how they looks and how they treat you. Yeah, that is different things.
And here the question is, usually you don't choose the tradition. I mean that I will go there, I will become Sakyapa, I will become Gigukpa, become Nyingmapa. So where you born, like the nearest big monastery, the tradition of your family, of your lineage, this will be your tradition.
Yes,
so
yes.
if you are born in the Nyingma tradition, you cannot say, I will go to the Sakyapa monastery.
Some will do this. Some will do this still okay. There's no big deal with it. But most of time, they will go wherever your family's tradition follow, you will go that tradition. But because some will find very great guru in another tradition, then maybe we will go to there and become that guru's students.
I mean that once you become a monk in the monastery, usually most of the monks, they stay in the same monastery.
Yes,
Because
yes.
from time to time I have seen the monks that are like doing pilgrimage or traveling
Yes.
from this monastery to other monastery to another monastery. I think this is not so widespread.
The pilgrimage is another thing, because pilgrimage is just a visit this monastery to worship and the offering.
But I mean just to live for some time.
Not really, not really. Yeah, but individually, some monks really wants to experience and they wants to explore the other traditions, the other teachings. Yes, they will do this. And also then the Rimi inspiration, the Rimi, this comes since Chingung Shoksum. Then there's kind of people, monks interested into the Rimi. Since then many of them kind of cultivated to study or explore more in other traditions also. Yeah, so like if you are Sajaba, you become a monk in a Sajaba monastery, but then maybe you will study in Saja first, and then after you finish your study in Saja, then you will go to the Gilu and study their text, and then maybe you go to Nyingma, and then go to even the Bombo. Yes, this could, but not it's a common. Not the thing everybody will do this. Yeah.
Okay, so when a person becomes a monk, like the same, there is a procedure, cutting
Yeah.
the hairs. So the same day, the person should take like basic vows.
Not need to take the same day. Some will take the same days, but some will take the gaps between it. It depends.
But what are the like say basic vows?
Basic vows is we call this novice monk, right? To be a novice monk, so we call this ragdum chu. There are 10 vows to follow. But of course, then the Gyalong full ordained monk have to. There are 360.
And I have never seen in the let's say English internet the list of these Gelong vows. Like, can you say like I don't know 5 like the most curious vows from this Gelong one?
Gyalong,
Yeah.
the fully ordained monk. Gyalong, the kind of the roots are the same, because we have 4 root vows. We call this Pambaji. This is same for the Gyalong and the Getsu. It's just same. But the additions, they are more for the Gyalongs, and Getsu is less. For example, one is like it's saying that Gyalong cannot touch to the money or the gold, but Getsu can do that. So that's why if you are Gyalong, if you have students, your student as a Getsu, then Getsu will, your students Getsu will serve you also, right? And then if somebody there is somebody to offer you money or your ancient time maybe it's a gold, then you cannot touch it.
So just put it here.
Since you are Gyalong, then instead of you, Getsu will receive it. Yeah, like this.
And usually the Gelong need to have the students
Yeah.
to serve him.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's difficult to serve yourself due to the vows.
Yeah.
And the meat, because from time to time people are asking that, that if you're a Buddhist, that basically doesn't mean that Nayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, you don't eat meat. And from some time they said that in Vinaya it said the monk should not use perfume, but let's say what the how it's called, the I don't remember the name of the thing, but to avoid
bad smell from your body. Yeah.
Or like shampoo in the morning. Every
Yeah.
time it has some smell. So what is the relation with the meat?
Relation with the meat. This is a complicated topic, right? Because as you mentioned that many people have this concept or this thinking that, Buddhist, no meat.
Yeah.
Because, why? Because Buddhists have compassion. Then if you have compassion, and then if you eat meat, seems like a contradiction, right?
Yeah.
So they think that, yes, monkeys, the meat is banned for the monks. But it's not really exactly like this way. So, of course, this not only the Buddhist practice, the culture, tradition, custom, a lot of things involved in the what you eat.
Yeah.
So, Buddha said that in the Vinaya practice, Buddha said that you don't have choice what you eat. You have to go with your baking bowl in the town and ask for food.
Yeah.
Before noon, whatever the people offer you, you just take it. You cannot, I don't eat meat, I'm vegetarian, or I say, I don't eat this egg because I'm vegan, or there's no this choice. Whatever they offer you, just simply take it. That is one. So that's way, if a family offer you food with meat, you cannot say, I'm vegetarian, I don't take this. Seems like then the family, maybe that time there's no other food, right? So you don't have option, and they don't have other choices.
Yeah.
So you just take it. But of course, it doesn't mean you got the permission to eat meat. It's not equal like this, because the situation and the condition, right? But if it comes to the Mahayana practice, yes, then Buddha really said that the Bodhisattva, since you take the Bodhisattva vow, since you become, or you claimed you are a Bodhisattva, so then you shouldn't eat meat, because Bodhisattva's main practice is really compassion, right? So since then, if you take also we say this, we call this great compassion. If you have the great compassion, then there's no way you will eat meat. It's kind of automatically.
Yeah.
If you already generated the great compassion in your heart, you are not there to eat meat, because when you eat meat, it means you are, taking the other's life indirectly, not directly, of course. Indirectly, you are taking lives, right? So that's why the Buddha really said that you shouldn't take the meat. Yeah. But then, if it comes to the tantric teachings, it's a different questions, different story. Yeah. But I don't want to have the people have a misunderstanding that, in the tantric teaching you are allowed to meat or something like that.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Because it also depends on what kind of practice you are doing, and what kind of realization you have, what kind of level of your practice. A lot of things involved here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and as for the daily life in the monastery, when I was living in the monastery in Kathmandu, usually the people were getting up at something like 5:30 in the morning, something like at 6 there was puja together with breakfast.
Yes.
And starting 7 they already started doing the debates. So at like 11:30, 12 it was lunch. Like at 3 p.m. they had tea, and at 5 it was like dinner, like tukpa soup. So usually this was kind of my perception, what I saw visiting the monastery, living just within the monastery in the dormitory. So usually what's the monastic life and inside? What is the kind of schedule of the monastery?
Yes, that's true. Especially the Shedas, they have the daily schedule. What time you will have to get up, even though what time you have to sleep, right? Like my СЮДА, the Zongsa Institute here, we have to sleep at 10. You have to sleep. Oh no, 10, 11. 11, then you have to sleep. You are not allowed to turn on any light. The disciplinarian will come to your door. What are you doing? Sometimes people will forget to turn off the light. You already slept. Then sometimes people will get the fines on it, the monks. Yeah. So, yes, there's this kind of schedule. 5 o'clock, you have to get up, and then 11 o'clock, you have to sleep. But then, like tatsang, if there's a tatsang, there's no such a strict rule. It's this time you have to get up. But if there is a early morning puja, of course you have to get up before that. You have to attend the puja, right? And if that monastery doesn't have an early morning puja together, of course maybe there's no puja at all at that day sometimes, and then there's no such time you have to get up at such time. Yeah, like when I was in Tibet in my monastery, we don't have to really get up at the same time. Some, of course, even at that time I was young, and we have to memorize in the early morning. It's better to memorize the lines, right? So have to get up like 4:35. The teacher would wake you up. Teacher would say, get up, go out to memorize, go out to memorize. Then yes, we'll go out. But of course, some will get up later, some will get up earlier, just depends.
And in terms of dormitories, what I have seen is that usually monks are living two in the room. Usually monasteries prefer like separate rooms or just two in a room, in a dormitory.
Separate room, what do you mean, separate room?
Just a small room for you.
Oh, yes.
Because what I have seen that small room but two beds, so two people in one room.
Yeah. In India, it's more like this. But in Tibet, not really like this. It's, even though one monk, you could have your room. Because in India, most of monks doesn't have family support. Monastery will give you the room, right? But in Tibet, you have your own family. The family will support you to make a room for you in the monastery. Yeah, then you will build your own room.
Built?
Yes, your family will build a room for you. Then you will stay in that room. That is your own room.
So that so that is why usually the monastery, and there are kind of different small buildings that are around the monastery. So these are the rooms that will be for families.
Yes.
This is like this.
Yes. So in Tibet like this, and also here in India, like in Seran, Debungadi, the Gilugba, the big monasteries, they're also they have one big monastery. Within that monastery, they will have different kamtins, and then within one kamtin, they could have shaktangs. Then shaktsang, they could have their own the apartment, and then in one apartment they will have the main teacher, and then could have some students, and then this apartment belongs to themselves. They were built. Yeah, but like other СЮДАs, if that is given by the СЮДА, the rooms provided by the СЮДАs, then even though maybe time to time you have to move, like in Zongsa, we have to change the room every year.
Because it's not your own.
Yeah, because it's not your own room, and also the different classes have to stay in the different locations. Then this year, your grade is first year. Next year, if you are past the exam, then you have to move to the second grade area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the newcomers have to have the rooms.
And in Tibet, like say, if this is your apartment that was built by your family, so when you die, this apartment goes back to this belongs to your family, so they can send like somebody others, or this apartment will be the property of the monastery.
It depends. The family can make decision. Some family will offer this to monastery, and then monastery will use it. Some family maybe sell it to others. Then maybe
Even sell?
yes, other monastery, other family will buy it for their monk. Yeah, and
So it's kind of pragmatic.
yes, and then some families maybe give it to their relative monks or their a monk who they really worship or respect. Yeah,
Kind
different.
of donation.
Yes, kind of donation for that individual monk. Yeah.
So the monk may decide to stay in the monastery, like doing something, practicing, studying philosophy or teaching, or monk may decide to go to retreat.
Yes.
So one retreat is mandatory, but like all additional retreats are willingly.
Yes.
So, and the retreat, and usually the monastery has the kind of nearby caves or retreat centers that belong to the monastery, or the monk can go traveling somewhere in the wilderness, in the mountains, to find his own retreat.
Some monasteries they will have this kind of retreat places nearby the monastery, and kind of they own this place. But some monks will go just far away in the mountains where the great yogis meditated, and then because we feel that kind of connection and a blessing from these kind of blessed caves, great caves, right? For example, like Milarewa caves. So you can go to the mountains and then stay in the caves, and then some monks maybe they will find a new cave and then stay in there. Yeah, and some retreat, to go to the retreat also different. Some there, the monastery will set up the retreat centers, and then they will have the rooms to give to the practitioners. And then if you ask it to the monastery, can I get a room and I want to practice there and I want to receive the teachings from this retreat master, then this also can work. And then if you received enough teachings and if you have a certain guru you follow and receive the teachings, and then you receive the instructions, and then you go by your own, and then maybe you will stay in the retreat for months and then come back to your guru and then kind of consult with the guru and report your practice progresses and experiences, and everything is check again. Everything is going on or wrong. Sometimes it may gone wrong, then it's dangerous.
Yeah. And in case this is the retreat center that is from the monastery, I think that the kitchen will be, I mean that in terms, retreat does not by default means that you will be like in the cave, like somewhere in the wilderness. Many of the retreat centers will be like a set of separate rooms with separately like toilet, bathroom, and there will be somebody preparing food for you like 1 or 2 times per day. So it will be like how to say, comfortable retreat. That means you are dedicating all your time for practice, and you have the basic necessities, so you are not dying from hunger, you are not dying from cold. So this will be like a comfortable retreat.
Yes.
So it
Of
doesn't.
course, and
so
also
retreat doesn't mean that you need to go and die in the mountains.
No. Retreat can go to mountain, but can do in the cities. You can do the retreat in cities. You can do the retreat in your room. You can do the retreat in anywhere. Yeah. So retreat doesn't really have to be in the mountains, but that is because people do this more because it's less distractions. Yeah, if you stay in the city, in the, you know, busy places, then it's more distractions are there. Yeah, so it kind of, because our mind is very easy to be distracted, right? So if there are a lot of things to distract your mind, then you cannot focus on your practice. Maybe you can do this for like at the beginning quite well, but then a lot of distractions coming appear, then your mind will slowly lose the concentration on practice. Then finally maybe you'll think, so boring, I want to go out, I want to chill out. You know. Yeah, but if you go to the mountain, there's no distraction. But it really depends on how much you have the courage to do the things. If you have enough courage, then you can do everywhere. Yeah.
And if a monk goes to mountains, so that means that he needs to carry some food with himself,
Yeah, yeah.
and some kind of a local society or the monastery need to send him food and water.
Yes.
So it's not kind of Milarepa living half a year with like 1 grain of tsampa.
No. Maybe some still can do this. To do this kind of need a lot of courage, you know, and of course to go to the retreat or to do the practices, you have to have courage. Not easy thing. This is to do.
And so I mean, like when there is kind of organized retreat, this is comfortable. But in case the person has the courage, willingness, and capability, physical, mental capabilities of the distance retreat, if a person finds a cave, so I mean that a person needs by default to have an agreement with the monastery on like a provision of some food,
Yes.
or have an agreement with the local communities. Can you please bring me like a food, something like this, or he can have a bag full of I don't know, tsampa or something like this.
Yeah, it depends if the local community is Buddhist devotees, Buddhist, like if it's example in Tibet, most of are Buddhist, right?
Yeah.
So if you are in the mountain cave and then down there is a village and all of them are Buddhist, of course, then if they knows that there is a tsamba, we call it tsamba, the retreat practitioner, and then if there is a tsamba and it seems like he doesn't have any support from a certain monastery or something like that, then the village people will bring the food and also the wood or something to fuel make the fire. Yeah, they will provide. And also then in Tibet, the water is very pure. You can use just running water, and then and then of course if it belongs to it's a really set up retreat center, then of course there is a kind of organization body to look after this. And then maybe also this retreat center have the sponsors specifically from one person, you know, I'm the sponsor of this retreat center, then that person will support the financially. Yeah.
And for the support, so the monk, if not the full vows holder, can touch the money, can receive the money, but is not authorized or authorized to do the work, to have a like job contract, to teach in university, to do business or something like this.
Yeah, so this kind of rules, the minor rules to follow, Buddha also suggested that according to the time and place, you have to follow. But so when we talk about the monk vows, there are different types, or we can categorize into different. Some are based on the place, some are based on the time. That time, so we call this yutu, yul and the tu. Yul means the place, tu means time, right? So dua yutu datten. Dua yutu datten means you have to conduct, or you have to follow, you have to practice according to the time and the places. You cannot say, oh, this is, you know, it said in the dua, then I won't do this. No, but of course, then there are some vows, regardless time and the places, you have to follow. So those, of course, you have to follow. But like you cannot touch money. But this now the modern time, if you cannot touch money, seems like you cannot get food from the market, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you go to the market with a begging bowl, maybe some days you can get food, but then if you go every day, maybe people will refuse to give you because the time changed,
Yeah.
right? Then if people offer you money, it's easier for the people also.
Yes.
If I offer you like a food, then food have to be finished within some certain days, right? If you offer your money, you can keep it. Whenever you need, you can use it. That's more easy, more convenient, more suitable this time. So that way nowadays, I think most of the fully ordained monk also use the money, because this time now globally everybody use money, right?
Maybe except for the maybe basic Theravada tradition, because in there they are very strict, I think, to the Vinaya. Even here in Dharamshala, I think you have met the monks with the bowls chanting in Pali.
Yes,
I
yes.
think they are fully attached to this kind of pure Vinaya. So for them, it's much more difficult.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
there is no food, that means that no lunch today.
Yes, yes. And also then the society you rely on also different. For example, Theravada tradition in South Asia, right? Southeast Asia. So those society also already have this habit, already have this custom, this tradition. If the monks come to the village, they those have to offer. But in Tibet, maybe no. And also difficulty in Tibet is a very huge land, but few people.
Okay, so so Buddhism is much more pragmatic towards like these daily things. Like it doesn't mean that you are going to die due to this just formal rule. Yeah. And so, let's say for the Tibetan Buddhists, what are the sources of living for a monk? So if a monk lives in a monastery, I think basic things are by default. So breakfast, lunch, dinner will be in the monastery kitchen. The basic the clothes. It is but from the monastery, or the monk need to buy it himself.
Some monastery they provide food and the clothes, but some monastery don't. So like I think that's also like in Tibet there's a family support. So like when I was in Tibet, food we have to cook by ourselves. There's no monastery kitchen every day you can have food. If there is a big pujas in the monastery, everybody go to the puja, and then yes, that day there is food provided by the monastery. But then other times you have to cook by yourself, and the food also you have to bring from your home. From your home. So, but here in India, yes, most of monastery there is a monastery kitchen, and then the food is in the monastery kitchen. Everybody go to there to help, but you can still cook in if you want.
Because, like you know, in the Western society, there is idea that the monks are like kind of parasites on society, because they do nothing, they produce nothing. Of course, there is kind of internal work, spirituality, but there is no like material outcome. There is no shoes, no service, no iPhone, nothing, no water. I don't know, not something. Produce nothing. They only consume, and they're kind of parasites on society. And there is idea that a monk lives a kind of free life in the vows, but like free breakfast, free lunch, free dinner, free accommodation, free clothes, everything for free. And in fact, it's not true.
Not really. Depends on the monastery's financial status also. So some monastery can provide clothes and of course food. Basically here in India, yes. But clothes, the monastery will find sponsors
Mhm.
and request to the sponsors. We need this much budget to make the clothes for the monks
Mhm.
and the nuns. Yes, but like I said that in Tibet it's not like that.
Mhm.
In Tibet, monastery doesn't really give you everything.
Mhm.
You have to. So that's why the good thing is you have family support,
Mhm.
or maybe some monks will have sponsors.
Mhm.
Devotees will offer you offerings, so you will rely on this kind of. And also, if you go to the village, in the village to the families to do the pujas, because in Tibet many families, or actually most of family, they at least they will do the one puja in the year, in a year. So of course monks have to go to do this. Then they will offer you some money, or sometimes clothes, sometimes other things.
Mhm.
You will take it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then basically in Tibet, your family is your backbone, support your food, clothes. Yeah.
And here, in fact, at least here in India, in Nepal,
Yeah.
and what I have seen in Tibet, monks are everywhere with iPhones,
Yeah,
sitting
yeah,
in cafes,
yeah, yeah,
chilling.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, what is the provision of finance from them? What I have seen in the Tibetan Norvotsia monastery when I was there, that for the small monks, they are fully within the monastery. The monks that are, let's say, over 30, and those who have, I was in the Geshe training university, Geshe training monastery. So those who are Geshe, I have seen that twice per month there was a group of monks, and there was one geshe with this big amount of money, and everyone was coming, and he was giving like 5,000 Nepali rupees to everyone twice a month. So there is a line of monks, five for you, five for you, five for you, five for you, goodbye. So twice a month they were just receiving money from the, I think, university monastery budget.
Yes, yes. There are some monastery could have this financial to give for each of an individual monks a certain amount every month or every year. But many monastery they doesn't have this financial status. So if there are some devotees wants to offer some money to the monks, they will come, and if there is a puja conducted, then they will just come and bring the money and then offer to the monks. But not most of them have so much money. But because monks doesn't have a family to look after, there's no children, no wife, no family bills, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they will collect, they will keep the monies, and then will buy phone.
Yeah.
Because and also the clothes, very simple.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just very simple clothes.
Yeah, robes.
Yeah, robes. Very simple. It won't cost a lot. And then there's no branded clothes to pay a lot of money, right? Then just only one thing can buy the monks is phone, right? So yeah, I heard that's a story. There was a Campbell, he told me that when he was in, I think it's Taiwan, and then some of the devotees over there saying that we don't have to sponsor to the monks because we don't have an iPhone, but monks have iPhones. I didn't take an iPhone in my life, but monks have iPhones. Then he said that, oh, but you have a house, you have a car,
Yeah.
right? But monks doesn't have. And you have a nice clothes, branded clothes, but monks doesn't have. Then that person said, oh, okay. Seems like, okay. Because at the beginning, that person said that, oh, monks richer than me. I don't have to sponsor to the monk, and I don't have to offer to the monks because monks are richer than me because I don't hold the iPhone, but they hold the iPhone. Yeah. For example, like once I went to Bodh Gaya to join Molam, and after Molam there was another puja, and anyway, it's a Molam and the pujas totally like 10, 12 days conducted. Then during that time, so many devotees came to there and they offered. They offered every day, and then monks collect all the monies. They didn't go to restaurant because they want to buy a phone. Then when we coming back to Himachal from Bodh Gaya, Delhi, everybody in the phone shop. So I also went to there once. At that time, we were 5 or 6 monks, bought phone together, and then some of us didn't enough money, then borrow from others. Then we did nothing left, no money at all. But we spent all the money to buy a phone.
But you can ask for discount for this amount of phones.
Yeah.
Okay, so traditionally, the monk is supported in Tibetan by the family. So now here in these refuge communities, monks are supported by the communities, by the monastery.
Yeah.
But basically, I think that apart from like phone and clothes, monk doesn't need anything. Maybe medicines, but medicines can be received in the also local communities.
Yeah, also from the monastery. Yeah.
So apart from this, basically, there is nothing a monk needs.
Yeah, sort of.
Books also can be received from the monastery.
That is not really. The monastery will have a library. Of course, if you go to the library, you can read books, but you cannot own it. You cannot make any notes on it. Yeah. Then many monks, will buy by themselves and keep in the room. Yeah, books.
Yeah. And so, okay, this is kind of the way of living. And what if, to sum up, what is the sense of life of the monk? So you're young, that you become mature, that you become old, that you die. So this is all what for? What is the purpose of all of this?
As a monk?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you become a monk, and of course you have this motivation to be a monk, because some monks really doesn't have the motivation to be a monk. Like I said that maybe your parents or somebody just brought you to a monastery to be a monk, and then you have to stay there even though you don't have the motivation to be a monk. But if you have the motivation, then since you take the vows, you kind of enter into a path, which is, the destination is liberation, enlightenment. So how long you can reach is really depends. Maybe some make it a very good progress, but maybe some just, there's no any progress, but you just stay a monkhood, right? So staying in a monkhood also is very precious, because we say that if you can stay in the monkhood, nothing doing any other practices, it's also already a practice, whole life practice. So while you are staying in the monkhood, you, of course, in a way, you are following a specific vow, right? You are protecting this vow. You won't do such things like stealing or cheating or gossiping. Yeah. So while you are stay away from these kind of things whole life, it already kind of accumulated a lot of merit in your spirit, in your path. So it will lead to the enlightenment. It will lead to the liberation. So main purpose here to practice the Buddhism, main focus is to awake from the so-called ignorance, right? So to see the reality, ultimate reality. So this is the main purpose. Main purpose not, meditate only, or not eating meat, not getting married. This is not the main purpose. Main purpose is to realize, to see the ultimate reality, to truth. So all the other many practices are kind of facilitating to go this final goal. But of course, you cannot ignore them because they are your facilities.
Yes.
Without them, maybe you cannot do. But some people maybe don't really necessarily do certain practices, but some practices may be very useful, very helpful for you. So to make the progress. So the progress, how to check how is your progress is how much your negative thoughts and emotions reduce,
Yes.
and how much positive compassion, wisdom are increased. So of course, you can check it yourself. Nobody can check it, right? So maybe, of course, from outside, you can pretend you are a very good practitioner, but people will think, oh, he's a very good practitioner, he looks very nice, he sits very well, but some very dirty, didn't wash the face well, didn't close the properly, disgusting. But maybe inside he has a very good realization and very good practice. Nobody knows. Actually, we cannot judge from outside. So who yourself is your judge. You knows what you do, what you think, right? So only you can kind of judge how is your practice. Yeah.
And monks are afraid. Okay, it's a silly question, but no.
Yeah.
Monks are afraid of death. Or what is death for them?
Of course, because when you become a monk, you are not, already become a Buddha or already reach a certain practice levels. Just you initiate it. You just step on the path. The difference is you just step on this path. Besides this, you have negative thoughts, you have a desire, you have you are still a human being. You have all the emotions a human being shares together, right? So it's just same. So scaring death is also same. Of course, many monks are scared of death, like usual people. So, but if your practice is good, and so we call this ding topa. Ding topa means you got confidence to death, to face to death. And also, if you realize every day we are dying. So if you realize this, death is a process, death is a part of life, death is just a part of your spiritual journey, right? So it's nothing to scare of, yeah. But of course, just as an ordinary thinking, yes, death is scary. So of course, monks also scared of it.
So even though that you have studied like the Bardo Monla, the Book of Death, etc., you know this life, etc., still like.
Yeah. Of course, yes. Because you study and you practice is also different things.
Yeah.
You become a very, very good scholar. You become a very, very knowledgeable. You have a lot of things to say, a lot of information you can share, but your practice may be very, very basic, very low, right? So it really depends on the practices also.
Okay, and maybe the last question, of course there are many more, but we are limited by time. It is the tradition in Tibetan Buddhism that usually, as far as I know, monks are not exchanging their meditation experiences with one another. Meditation experience is only for yourself and for your guru, and you are not like in the daily life discussing, in this meditation I have these insights, etc. I have these realizations. So it's not traditional to discuss it with friends, only for yourself and for your lama.
Yes, that's true. That's true, really true. And also, Buddha kind of, I would say, banned to share this kind of experience or visualizations to say to other people. So that's why we have there's a code to follow is in the lie. So the monk have to follow 4 root vows, right? One is lie. In the lie, so if you say that I saw I have a vision of certain deities, or I saw a deity in my dream or in my meditation, if that is not true, of course you can say that. Who can check it, right? Nobody can check it. If you say this, and if it is not true, then your monk vow is finished. So that's where Buddha actually, and also Buddha kind of discouraged to show your practice or experiences to others. Yeah, you shouldn't share this, and you shouldn't, because this is kind of, then it become a show off.
Yeah.
If you then everybody share this kind of, then if someone really doesn't have this kind of experience, he has to say. Otherwise, seems like you are a little bit shame, right?
Yeah.
You lost your face.
Yeah,
Then you will say, yes, I also have this. You said something like that. Yeah, you won't share this. Only, of course, to share with your guru, because guru will evaluate your practice and check your practice is going on properly, and your visualization is going perfectly. Everything will check, right? Yes, you will share with your guru, and then also guru will guide you, will give you the instructions. So it's not common to share with friends or with others. No. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So maybe everything you want to say for those who are interested in Buddhism or Tibetan Buddhism, like anything you want.
Not really, but I would say one thing is, don't forget that monks or nuns are also human beings. Just human beings, same like you. You like sweet taste, and you like to wear the nice clothes, and you have you want to have a comfortable chair, and you want to have nice looking.
Yeah.
Monks and nuns also have this totally same emotions, but also the difference is they step on a path to follow, and they have a kind of dream to reach a realization or liberation or enlightenment. They are inspired by that path, so they just take that path in, like it's the same like a student go to school.
Yeah.
If you are in the school, you cannot say, oh, he knows everything, right? You cannot say that.
Yeah.
But they are trying to study. Same. Monks and nuns also, they are trying to practice, but they are still human beings. They have a lot of ignorance, they have a lot of emotions. You can accept, you have to accept this. So monks are not pure like statue or like a Buddha. No, don't forget this. Otherwise, you will make a very beautiful assumption and then confusion, and then when you know the reality, maybe then you will say, "Oh, it's disgusting. It's not like this," because that is your consumption, your assumption. Make this. The reality is not like this way. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that this short video was valuable for those who are interested in Buddhism. And of course, we are wishing you all the best. And of course, to clear all the obscurations that you have, and to have peace, joy in life, so-called equanimity and open heart that is willing to be shared with others. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.